Welcome back everyone to Modern Minecraft 1.7. So this past week and probably the upcoming week or two are going to be pretty busy for me, so if the videos are a little sparse, I apologize for that. It's beyond my control at this point. So I've started setting up a big reactor and I haven't finished it yet. I was going to kind of show what I've done off camera. I don't really intend to do a full tutorial here, but I do hope I can cover enough to at least get people started. So the big reactors are pretty interesting the way they're built. They're multi-block structure, and you can build them variable sizes. I believe this is a 7x7 on the outside, which gives me 5x5 on the inside. And we've got the reactor casings for the frame, and then you can also use the casings to fill out the faces, or you can use this glass. Then you need the yellorium fuel rods in the center part, and these are placed in columns. And on the same level as the, well, I guess you'd say as part of the case. So for example, I could put reactor casing blocks here later on. You put these control rods on top of the yellorium fuel rods. Then you also need a reactor controller, and I've got a power tap here for outputting the energy, I assume, and 2 access ports. You need 1 at least, but if you want to automate it, I think you need 2. And now I've got a computer port here, which I can plug some. Okay, sorry about the interruption. That's going to be pretty typical for a while, I think. So this computer port, I can plug into this with, for example, an adapter from Open Computers, and then there's a very long list of methods you can use to get stats about the reactor and control it. For example, these control rods, you can actually... kind of like what a real reactor does. You can insert these rods and they will impede the reaction, and if they're all the way inserted, it will completely stop the reaction. If you have them just partially inserted, it will slow down the reaction, and you can control all these rods individually or all together, which is probably what I'll do. And another thing, which I don't know if you need or not, is you need a coolant, and I believe the coolants are water. The liquid forms of redstone and glowstone, this resonant ender, which I've got here, which is the second best, I believe, and then there's gelid cryotheum, which is the best, but of course the hardest to get, so I'm going to use resonant ender. So I believe all I need to do at this point is finish putting in the glass here, fill out the resonant ender, and then I should be good to go. Oh, and I'll need to put the top back on after I'm finished filling this out. And I don't think you need the whole thing filled with coolant, really. And I can't remember, when you fall in this stuff, what happens? Oh yeah, it teleports you randomly. That's right. I thought it was something like that. So you are going to be possibly a bit tricky to work with if I don't be careful. So let's see, wait, those actually need to be 1 block down. Uh-oh, okay, there we go. Had trouble picking this stuff up. So I'm gonna do this and I'll be right back. Okay, are we complete? No, I think I'm missing one. It's kind of hard to tell because of the way it flows in such a strange way. Okay, so how many buckets was that? That was 20 buckets to fill it up, which may not be necessary for this to be full. It might even be more efficient if it's not completely full. I think it's these reactors are more efficient if they're hot, but not too hot. But I'm not overly concerned. Oh, darn. About efficiency. Wow, it actually teleported that block. But I would like it to be efficient if possible. So there we go. Is that a complete reactor, or am I missing something? I have to go down and take a look. Okay, are you... Alright, what's wrong with you? Can you tell me what's wrong? Incompatible with machines of type multi-block reactor. Turbine computer port. Oh. I built the wrong one. Oh, don't spill out, please. I was wondering why this thing took cyanide. Okay, I built the wrong one. I feel kind of silly now, but that happens. So let's see, I need to make a redstone repeater. And this is kind of something that makes me wish I'd gone with AE2 instead of logistics pipes. It's this kind of stuff that's a bit trickier. But I'll live with it. Okay, and there we go. So it's complete. You can see it change shape. And I've got a computer port for a turbine whenever I build one, if I ever build one. So this reactor should be usable now. I don't have it connected to anything yet. Let's see, what do the vibrant capacitor banks cost? I could probably make them. Yeah. It'd be a bit painful to craft, but doable. So I'm going to craft some of those, and I'll be right back. Okay, I was able to make 2 so far. I'm running a bit low on the energetic alloy and the vibrant alloy as a result. And you actually need both. And that sentence didn't make a lot of sense. Okay, so just temporarily, I'm just going to put these down here right by the power acceptor and... What did they... Oh, they must have been charging because I was holding them, but where did they send their power? Is there an energy conduit below that? No? Okay. Strange. Well, there is an energy conduit very close to there, so this would be easy to connect to the power system in my tower if I chose to. Actually, no, wait, the line's over there. So now, if I were to, I'll just give it a quarter stack of yellowite. So that's just over a quarter full. Huh. I actually wonder, how much can it hold? The one I built in Creative could hold 48 ingots. This one holds more. It holds 60. I guess because, oh, it must be 12 per fuel rod, because I have 5 fuel rods. Alright, so now if I wanted to, I could go ahead and turn on this reactor, and let's see how much power it generates. And how hot it gets. Alright, so it looks like it's stabilizing. Yes, that is over 7,000 RF per tick. And you could make these things do even more than that, I'm pretty sure. So it's using about 1/10 of a millibucket per tick. And 1 bucket is equivalent to 1 ingot. Alright. Core temperature. Higher temperatures increase fuel burnup. Alright, and fuel reactivity, how highly irradiated the core is. Higher levels of radiation reduce fuel burnup. So, do you want the temperature to be lower, but the reactivity to be higher, I think. I'm not an expert on this mod. I haven't used it since 1.6, and even then I barely touched it at all. And you can see this thing is filling up very quickly. 50 million RF in these two capacitor banks combined, and it is already at over 17 million. So this is why I want the computer control program. This thing generates a ridiculous amount of power, and it's probably not going to stop whenever it's finished, or whenever it's full of energy. So I'm going to need to write something to control it a bit. And of course I could go up top and change the control rods a bit. Could also get a computer to do that. I don't have a spare computer just laying around. I guess I could try using a ComputerCraft computer, but oh, I don't have the list of methods open on a monitor anywhere, so one thing I haven't figured out about open computers yet is that you can get a list of methods for a peripheral, but you can't get the full list if it's very long, which is a bit annoying. So yeah, I could come up here and start messing with the rods, but I think I'll just go ahead and cover this back up. So let's see, I think I just finished this basement level up here, and this would be the 4th floor. This is the 3rd floor where the apple tree used to be until I took it down to make the floor above. And haven't done any more work on the mob accelerator. It'll get done eventually, but so what I'm kind of thinking is I could use the power from this reactor for the mob accelerator. That would definitely be a good place to send it. It's generating a pretty crazy amount of power, and I don't think it's even gone through a single ingot yet. Yeah, it's gone through maybe half an ingot so far, and it's generated nearly 40 million RF. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for now. Residual heat will still generate power and consume coolant until the reactor cools. Well, I'm not feeding it any coolant. The resonant ender that I put in there, that's not going to get used up, and I called it coolant, but I think there's actually a way that you can feed in some kind of liquid that gets consumed to use as a coolant, but I don't really know much about that. I just know how to build the basic reactors like this. Right, looks like the power stopped right there, so I'm gonna figure out what to do with this, and I'll be back later. So I was kind of wondering when this would happen, but I finally hit a point where I was not producing enough fuel for my generators, so I doubled up the vats here, and yeah, I think I'm still okay on ingredients. So I had to redo the conduits, so I've got this kind of interesting looking structure here with the item, energy, and fluid conduits coming up along the sides of the vat. There is nothing below these, and got the water fluid conduit here, which I technically don't need to connect. Don't know why I couldn't click that out. It's kind of difficult to work with these conduits sometimes once you have 2 in 1 block space. But yeah, I got it all to work. Had to break a few conduits here and there, but not a big deal. So let's see, I need to put this back and this. And I somehow got 1 item and 2 energy conduits back. Okay. And don't think I've shown this. I made a refinery to get some fuel going for GalactiCraft stuff. I've actually got the materials for a rocket. And I've also got stuff set up to do some equivalent exchange 3. Not going to do either of those these episodes. Those will be in their own episode. Trying to keep this a little bit more organized. So today is power generation. Tomorrow might do EE3, might do GalactiCraft a little bit. Might actually do a co-op episode for GalactiCraft. I haven't decided yet. Another thing to mention is there is another refinery from GalactiCraft, but there's a bit of a problem with my current mod pack. These copper canisters are the same recipe as mariculture vats, so can't make them. I did actually add Mind Tweaker though, so I can add and modify recipes if needed. So if I wanted to, I could make another recipe for the copper canisters without much issue. Which actually brings me to something else for the custom NPCs mod. I think this is normally kind of a creative mod, but I want to try to use it in survival a bit, so I added some recipes for these tools here, and I made them so that they require these chaos shards from gems, and to get these you need a nether star, so I'm going to need to kill a wither before I can do anything with the custom NPCs. I previously had given myself an NPC wand to experiment with, but I went ahead and deleted that, and unless anyone has any problems with me doing things this way, I'll kill a wither at some point and then start playing around with the custom NPCs. I won't do anything too insane. I'll keep it all fair and reasonable. Like, you can make them do trades, and you could, in theory, cheat stuff in that way, but I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm going to keep it all reasonable. I actually don't even know what I want to do with that mod. I may end up not messing with it a whole lot. Oh, looks like we're finally backed up on fuel again, I guess, since some of the machines have stopped running. So got some more energetic alloy. I need to make even more of that. Got a bunch of glowstone I just went and harvested, and I actually need to repair my AoE pick. It's getting pretty low on durability. So let's see, what do I want to... I don't want to use sapphires. I don't have many sapphires for whatever reason. So let's see, what would be something kind of nice? Yeah, we'll go with that, and then grab a couple more rubies for the sake of repairing it at least. And how does that look? I like that. It's not bad. And let's go ahead and just finish repairing it like that. And I want to put unbreaking on it. Or... yeah, I'll probably put unbreaking on it later. I'm actually going to make it so that unbreaking and mending no longer conflict. Because you used to be able to get mending through an enchanting table, but now it's either next to impossible or impossible, and I may have mentioned this, I don't know. Alright, well, I was originally going to cut the episode there, but I actually got a working program here, which I'll go ahead and show it off. It's nothing too crazy. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, see these two variables, throttle min and max. These are going to be kind of where it wants to keep the energy level. So right now I've got it between 70 and 80 and 100%. I can change that to 80. If it's below 80, it's going to run the reactor full speed. If it's at 100, it's going to stop running the reactor, and I could set that to anything I want. I could set it to like 98%, so it almost but doesn't quite fill up the capacitor banks. But if I do 100, that's okay, because the reactor has its own storage. And then once it gets between 80 and 100, it's just going to follow a linear equation and gradually drop off the power as the stored energy gets higher and higher. And actually, I'm going to set that to only check it every 5 seconds for now. And currently I've got it printing out. The second line is the current energy level, and then the third line is the the control rod level. And I actually have the reactor turned off, so I got to turn that back on. And we should see the energy level start to increase, and the control rod level start to increase as well. And that first line is just some stuff I was using to debug, basically. And we can actually see it's inserting the rods more and more. So it's up to 78% now. And we're only producing 1.9 thousand RF per tick, as opposed to 7,000 something, and it's falling constantly. It does look like the reactivity is going down, though. Well, it doesn't really matter that much. Let's see, I've used up 1 ingot so far, and oh, the cyanide is over here. Once it gets a bucket of waste, it makes a cyanide ingot out of it. Once it ejects the waste, you can also set it to not eject waste automatically. And let's see, we should be just about full here. No? Okay, well, the power level's climbing. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, it is still climbing pretty slowly because the control rods have been inserted so far in. Alright, so skipping ahead here a little bit, looks like it's still going to be a while before it finishes up, but my plan with this program is to have it so that it'll show a lot of stats for the reactor wherever I want it to be. Like I gotta have a monitor on a different floor that'll show the current power output or something like that. I really don't know. I'll just do whatever I feel like at the time. And wow, this is just... Oh, it finally went ahead and said it's close enough inserting the rods all the way because it got rounded up to 100, even though it's not quite at 100% power. And looks like we're getting just a little bit of residual energy there, maybe. And now it's stopped. Alright, so that's all I've got for this episode. Don't forget you can subscribe if you're liking what I'm doing and want to keep up with it. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.